Hi, this is guitarist Dennis Tafe, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Gear. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at a mystery 2x12 cabinet. And there's a backstory to it, of course. Now, last time, interestingly, we just did a episode on the Fender Super Champ X2 little 15-watt tube amp, right? And it's got a 10-inch Cannabis Rex speaker in it. And then we had looked at a Vox 1x12 cabinet. Now, strangely enough, around that time, the guy who had modified my bootlegger guitar, which you've seen in previous videos if you've been following the channel, and if you haven't, you should subscribe for that very reason. Okay, in any case, well, I start talking to him and he tells me, hey, you know, I've got this cabinet, speaker cabinet, it's a 2x12, and I'll sell it to you, you know, for less than $50. I was like, what? Interestingly enough, now, you know, who knows if it's any good or not. It could be horrible. You know, especially at that price, you never know what you're getting. It doesn't have a brand name on it. But I couldn't resist because I really like the cabinet. It's a closed back 2x12 cabinet. And I thought to myself, well, you know, at very worst, I'll, you know, maybe swap out the speakers, put some good speakers in there, and have a nice 2x12 cabinet. It does have a handle. However, for this smaller room, I just have to turn those 2x12 cabinets on their side, you know, so that it's vertical, standing up. I just don't have the real estate to put it on its side. It doesn't really affect the sound quality. So, I was very curious to see, well, what is this? Is this, you know, a piece of junk, or who knows what's in there, how old it is, and so on. And then he told me, well, it's got these Pile speakers. I thought, oh, well, those are probably cheapo, lousy speakers. However, I did a little research and discovered that these were Piledriver speakers. And I'm in Indiana, and proudly, these were made in Indiana, surprisingly enough. Back in the day, I don't know if they're still around or not. I'm sure some viewer will know more than me on it. But so they were a 90-watt Piledriver T1229 speakers, I think they were. And well, it was quite interesting because I did some research on it, and I said, well, people really kind of like those speakers. And some of them said, oh yes, I used to have that kind of speaker in a deluxe Reverb, right? Or in a Princeton, in fact. Now, that made me really suspicious. Anyway, people say, well, they weren't super expensive speakers or anything, but they were put into these amps that I really like with clean sound. So I thought, quite interesting, you know. I mean, from what I remember, Pile, You know, I mean, they do a lot of the automotive speakers and things recently, anyway. And I remember, I thought Full Compass, didn't they sell a Pile replacement guitar speaker or something at one point? I don't know. But anyway, so I was really curious to see, you know, what did I get exactly? You know, I figured it'd be pretty lousy. So let's find out. Okay, and real quick, let's mention that the two speakers in the cabinet are 8-ohm speakers, right? So I'm assuming it's a 16-ohm cabinet. In any case, okay, here I'm actually plugged into just the Fender Super Champ X2 by itself. Okay, straight into the Fender X2 with a 10-inch Canvas Rex. Okay, so that's direct in, and now let's try the cabinet. Okay, so I've got the cabinet plugged in. I'm going to play those same two chords and let's see what happens. I don't know. I mean, to my ears, that sounds freaking amazing. Wow. You gotta remember, there's a little 15-watt, right, amp. And that 212 just makes it huge. And lots of low end here. You know, real nice and clean. Such a big difference in sound, it's amazing. Okay, here I'm gonna turn on some plate reverb and play through this cabinet. Let's see what it can do. just don't have anything bad to say about that. It's just amazing, really. So I've hooked up my Supro as a second amp here. Which also has a 12-inch speaker. Wow. And you know, I paid more for my Supro than I did that cabinet, that's for sure. I'll put on my plate reverb and let's see what happens here. Try a little bit of delay. Taking off the Supro just to hear the mystery cabinet. It's got that real deep, kind of bassy sound. Okay. And really what it reminds me of is kind of a stock Fender kind of deluxe reverb kind of speaker, really. That's that Fender X2. And the upper register sounds a little thin. But the thing is, and part of that's the amp too. It's only a 15 watt amp, you know. So I'm really pushing that amp, you know, to run that cabinet. But you can hear it kind of distorts a tiny bit. I mean, you can get it to distort anyway, you know. But right there, you know, it's weird, but at that 9th fret, playing a double stop there will easily distort most cabinets. If you play it hard enough, you know. And let me take it off the reverb here, so it's just straight into the amp. Farting out a tiny bit. You know, but I mean, to get a cabinet, a 2x12 cabinet with this kind of quality, you know, you basically have to spend quite a bit of money. I mean, we're talking like $400 or $500, you know, easily. Especially if, you know, you get aftermarket, you know, Celestion, you know, creamback speakers or what have you. You know, to get it where it doesn't, you know, fart out at all. So these are really, really close to that, you know. I'm not complaining, especially for the price. I mean, so this is the same settings with the Fender X2, the 10-inch Cannabis Rex. My goodness, what a difference. Sounds real boxy and real mid-range. I don't know what happened. So that shows you that cabinet makes a huge difference. I take it right here. I'm not going to change anything else. I'm just going to play 2 chords. Alright, let's try it one more time. I'm going to plug into the mystery cabinet. same exact settings, and I'm going to play those 2 chords again. Let's hear it. What a difference. So there you go, there's the mystery cab. I'm sorry, I've got the fan on. It just gets so hot in this room. Whew. Okay. So anyway, there's the mystery cab. And I'll tell you what, it makes the little Fender X2 sound a lot bigger, a lot fuller, fills out the room, and gives you a really nice bass sound. That simply is not possible with a 10-inch Cannabis Rex speaker. To be quite frank, when your ears are used to the cabinet and you switch back to the Fender X2, it sounds real mid-rangey and real boxy, and you know. So in that sense, I mean, wow. So we can see that cabinets make a huge, huge difference in the sound. I'd say more than even switching out speakers, which is kind of what you're doing, you know, in a combo amp. It's kind of the same thing, you know, but here, I mean, we're talking about a, you know, closed back 2x12 cabinet, so it's a little more punchy too. Now, for the price I paid for the cabinet, it's an unbelievable deal, really. You know, when you think that a new cabinet, you know, with really decent speakers, is definitely the $400 to $500 range, if not more than that. I mean, I've seen them as high as $1,000. That's for one cabinet. You know, now of course, you know, you can overwhelm the cabinet, you know, and make the speakers distort and things if you push it too hard. But it's I guess how those speakers distort, you know, whether it's musical or not. And you know, don't forget, you know, people will pay thousands and thousands of dollars to get hand-wired vintage tube amps, right, to overdrive, you know, kind of like what we were hearing there when I was really pushing the speaker, you know, kind of hard. Well, overall, I'm really thrilled with this mystery cabinet, and I guess those were kind of in the 80s, as far as I know, the Piledriver speakers. Not bad at all to my ears, you know. Very much comparable to, you know, what you if you get a deluxe reverb, kind of the stock speaker in there, you know, easily. And man, what a difference in tone. sound, you know. Very interesting, really. Because I usually think that, you know, the little Fender X2 has a great sound. You know, but I'll tell you what, when you swap the cabinet, you go, oh, well, maybe not. Very interesting. So I'm really thrilled with that cabinet, and I'm definitely going to keep it, and, you know, I'm not going to swap out the speakers in it or anything. I mean, I think it's fine, you know, for what it is, you know. And I'm actually very pleased with the sound, you know. Usually, on real cheap kind of speaker cabinets with cheap speakers, especially in the high end, they get real tinny, real thin, and I didn't get that here at all, you know. Fairly solid, actually. So not bad at all. I'll have to keep in the vertical position, you know, and man, that is really something else. I had not predicted that. How much it changed the sound, you know. It's very interesting because, I mean, yeah, to me, the X2, you know, I love the sound of the X2. And then realizing, well, wait a minute, you know, when you swap it out with that cabinet, it's like, wow, the difference is quite impressive. So if you've got some kind of combo amp, and you're pretty happy with the tone, I mean, I'd highly recommend trying out different cabinets, even a 1x12 like we did last time with the Vox. You know, I would say this mystery cabinet is very much like the Vox, except it even has more low end. You know, they're very similar, and the Vox, you know, has that Celestian greenback speaker. I mean, so for the Piledriver to even come close to that is quite an achievement, I think. You know, so I'm very pleased with it, especially considering the price, you know, of other 2x12 cabinets. You know, they can get horrendously expensive. It's kind of strange, I guess, because you're paying for each speaker, you know, and usually they put speakers in there if it's a nice cabinet. They're $100, $150, right? So right there you're at $300, plus the price of the cabinet, you know. And then on top of that, the name, big whoop, right? But I'll tell you what, a lot of people will pay that name. You know, whether it's Marshall, Fender, Friedman, you know, what have you. Now, that brings up another point. This poor cabinet has no name, right? In fact, I don't even know who it's made by. It's very interesting because there's no brand name, nothing on the inside. Who knows? And the grill cloth is blank. So what you could do, I guess, is buy the logo of your choice and slap it on the cabinet, if you know, if that makes a difference to you. Yeah. Kind of vain, doesn't really affect anything. So there you go, that's the mystery cabinet, 2x12. I absolutely love that kind of thing, you know, running across something you didn't expect and trying to find out, well, how does it sound? And then discovering that it sounds pretty darn good, you know, a lot better than I ever expected, I'll tell you that much right now. I mean, I've played some pretty sad cabinets, you know, where the sound is just super thin, speakers super distorty, you know, that kind of thing. So here it's not that at all, really. You know. Okay. So very, very interesting. And I'll tell you what, it really, for me, makes me consider, you know, getting different cabinets and things and trying them out with different amps that I own. Because I was stunned at the difference in sound. You know, a lot more than you'd expect. You know, I mean, I see people, you know, and I've done it, you know, replacing tubes, you know, replacing all kinds of things, and really, just plugging it into a different cabinet, you know, can make all the difference in the world. Alright, very good. See you next time.